Now this is my third story of this morning, and you see the hunting story. This is something. After the Terry Shortridge murder, and my brother Jim, started coming back to town and getting involved with the people again in the neighborhood. I'm just watching everything that's happening because everybody's all cozy about this murder in Morton, Washington that's happened right in front of me, and I gotta live with it because they murdered the person on my bed, and then they're trying to pass off. They're saying it's a faulty gun. They're saying the gun's faulty, all this is faulty, but not the people, not the family, not the Zodiac, not the stolen money at the bowling alley and all this here stuff, and all it is they're shoving something upon one person and they're fucking forcing the community to comply to it. And that's exactly what was happening. Matter of fact, when they come back, Jerry and Jim's running around together, like this. I'm outnumbered by my family members. But now Jerry and Jim, they go hunting up on Storm King with Howard Hoffman. And Howard Hoffman and Jim and Jerry's up there at daylight, just at daylight, and they're watching out over the burns and stuff, and it's windy, and stuff, and they're watching, for deer, for something to come out. And all of a sudden, Jerry, right up into the wind. And all of a sudden that thing just blows around like a hook. And all of a sudden Howard yawns. And Jim said he's seen that spit go right into Howard's mouth. Holy fuck. Howard just whips up the gun and blows a fucking bullet right past Jerry's head. And Jim says he pulled up the gun on Howard's head and he looked out with one eye and he said if Jerry wasn't standing there, he would have killed Howard. Well, isn't that nice? Now, after all this here, and Howard knows that Jim pulled the gun up on him and everything too. This didn't end well. These guys wasn't happy when they left the hill at that moment. Bad things did happen. And Howard Hoffman, he fucking was pissed at Jim for pulling that gun up, and he fucking verbally took it out on Jim one day. And this is how the story went. Jim told me about this, and I just smiled at Howard ever since. And Howard's my friend, by the way. Me and Howard used to drive around and stuff, and boy, the way. It's good to have allies like that, Howard Hoffman, because me and Howard Hoffman is friends to this very day. Last time I seen Howard Hoffman, he was working at the mill as a superintendent down in Toledo. He has a beautiful wife. He has a beautiful home that you can see from Highway 508 that's up on the hill up above Harmony Park and stuff. I've never been up there, but I wish Howard Hoffman, niceness. Even though they called him Howard, how weird, stereotype people. And Howard pulled out a knife on Terry Shortridge. And goddamn, Terry Shortridge's mom, Gladys, had Howard Hoffman psychologically evaluated before, and there was a little animosity there. Then Terry Shortridge got murdered, and all this here happened up there. So Jim, you see, I'm getting to the point of this. So Jim and Howard's out hunting, and they're all Stan Hoyt and Jim, and Stan Hoyt is like this with Howard Hoffman, and Jerry and Jim's not quite there, but Jim's closer over here than Jerry. Jerry, he's gonna get the shit kicked out of him for doing something to Howard like that right there. That spit in the mouth is what got Jerry's ass kicked out there at the Indian Hole by Stan Hoyt. Stan Hoyt just beat the fuck out of him. But Jim and Stan Hoyt was out hunting, and they were up by Marshall's Field, and they decided they were going to target practice and get their gun sighted in a little bit. I don't know whose idea it was, but I goddamn tell you, Howard Hoffman knows this story, and so does Jim Wright. Those guys were up there, and they start shooting and stuff, and they set their guns down, going off down the target, setting it back up again or whatever. So they've done this once, they're going to do it again, I guess. start shooting. They shot. They set their guns down. They're gonna go, and they're setting the guns down because it marks the spot where they're shooting from. So they run down there. They're going to run down there. And Jim takes off first, and Howard just stops, picks up his fucking gun, and just watch Jim run down there to that stump. Jim, he says, "Yeah, I know what you goddamn did to Terry Shortridge," and he fucking started shooting that stump right there where Jim's at, hiding behind that stump now. He had Jim pinned down behind that stump, telling him, "I know what you did to Terry Shortridge," you know, and all this sort of stuff is being said to Jim. And Jim's the one that told me this story. And he says, "I'm behind that stump," and he says, "I could see the stump just shit flying off the other side from the concussion of the bullet, John." You know, Jim's telling me, "Hey, this is what happened to me." I mean, I'm like, you know, what do you expect? It's like telling Marietta up at the store, or she's up at that tavern above the Morton bowling alley, the 4-lane bowling alley, and Gladys Shortridge comes in and says, "This is the day that your son murdered my son." I say, you know, what did you expect, Mom? You know, and me and Howard Hoffman's friends. Howard Hoffman and us was in Boy Scouts together with Stan Hoyt. Oh boy, you talk about an influential Boy Scout group into havoc. Howard, we went on a camporama, and we camped out in the snow out there by Rochester, Washington from Morton. Our chapter went out and met with other people. We had a jamboree. There was snow. We had plastic, a rope like this. We set up a thing to a big tree. Go find a big tree, and you get under it. Stay warm, drier underneath there. Built a fire so the heat of the thing would come up through the vent, right through it, a little warmer in there, and we hunkered down right there. But you know, during this here thing, you know, in the Boy Scouts, they would have handicapped people in this Boy Scouts, and right there was handicapped people in there. Not saying that they were bad, but now Howard and them got underneath one of these handicapped men, boys shit, you know, during this contest and stuff like this, and this handicapped boy just took Howard and just goddamn slammed him down, the hardest I'd ever seen somebody slammed, and Howard was just like fucking almost tears over this, and Stan Hoyt wanted to beat the hell out of the you know, I mean, shit happens. We were building fires trying to burn this little line, this little string, you know, whoever burns the fire, you gotta make the fire, you gotta burn the string, and whoever does it wins. Well, when it come down to it, here's Howard pulling out his lighter fluid can, spraying on the thing, fucking, like that. We end up getting disqualified. Oh man, I tell you. Howard got slammed, all of this stuff, bad news. Our whole Boy Scout group got fucking thrown out of the jamboree. We had to fucking get our shit and get the fuck out of the jamboree. It really did get that bad. And I believe Don Rowe might have been there. I don't know if Don was there. Stan was there for fucking sure. Howard was there for sure. I was there for sure. There was other people there, but these are the main players. Don Rowe might have been there. I mean, Don Rowe. We all went to the beach, and there was another incident out there where, you know, because of that little knife thing and Terry Shortridge and everything, they were giving Howard a bad time, and Howard would have a knife, he'd have a lighter, he'd have a pipe, he'd have a bag of weed. Howard was cool, and Howard wasn't so weird. Although, I remember Dave Davis, this guy that had this black Comet, and it was very fast. It had a 427 in it. He had this deal. He says, if you could grab that $20 bill off the dash between second and third gear, you can have it. You know, that was a fucking standing deal. It was a quick 20 bucks, and that guy made a lot of $20 bills by doing that too. Well, you just get up, you know, try to grab that $20 bill. I never tried to do it. I'm just a little kid, but I have people telling me about this, and I fucking known people to see them leave town Morton to go out and do that and hear it, because you can hear the noise in that canyon when those engines start up in that canyon, like Jim Van Cleve in his 427 and his Ford Fairlane, his 67 Ford Fairlane. That's the fastest Ford Fairlane in the world. That my friend Jim Van Cleve, which I call my friend, I used to work for his dad. So many stories, so many stories. And the Boy Scouts, the bitter Boy Scouts. That is something. Oh, and anyway, we were out the beach, and because of that little knife got pulled out, I lost my train of thought. Don Rowe had taken Howard's knife from him. They started teasing Howard down at the beach when we went down there with our new scoutmaster, Ed Caton. He had Greg Caton and Jerry Caton as his two sons, and we were there, and Greg Caton, or Jerry, the senior Caton, Ed, has his a yellow utility truck there. The Boy Scouts are down there. Matt Smith's down there. He's driving, and he's beloved Matt Smith, and I named my son after him after he got killed in a car wreck too. You know, the Boy Scouts, they was getting killed. They were killing the Boy Scouts in my group too. You know, and Mike Pedersen, my first scout leader, he's over at the 2x4 Tie It Together, the tie capital of the world, the D.B. Cooper tie in the seat of the 727, the tie capital of the world. But down there at the beach, you know, they were teasing Howard. Like Don Rowe is there standing on a log like this, and I couldn't believe it. One of them took a shit on a log, standing on a log, and took a shit in front of me. And I think it was Don Rowe. And I don't give a fuck if Don Rowe's taller than me and gave me a black eye when I was a kid. And that's a story in its own, because I nailed him with a snowball, an ice ball. Came over, picked me up. Pow! He fucking set me down. Yeah, boy, I seen stars too. That's the first guy, the only guy ever I seen little black dots. So anyway, the stories that I could tell. They were teasing Howard so bad that me and Stan and Alan Parks was there. Al Parks, Jan Parks' son, right there, and Malin Park Kent married. Jan Parks is my mom's friend that works at the Moose, that's next to the Twin Star Credit Union now. I'm telling you, my mom married Parks because she's following signs, and Park was her friend. Oh God. There was teasing Howard so bad that me and Stan and Alan had to go and camp someplace else in fear of our life, because we were afraid that Howard would fucking kill us after as mad as Don Rowe had Howard, and teased up about this box of Cheese Whiz. Look, inside this box of Cheese Whiz, there's a special prize. And he's saying to Howard, and Howard, give me my card. You know, he's pouting. He's just like, and right in here, the special prize, and he pulls out a knife, ha, ha, ha. I'm Howard Hoffman. Oh God, damn. And Howard was so fucking pissed that me and Stan and Alan Parks, and Alan's alive today, I'm sure. Alan. and me and Alan, and we made up this thing, and we called it the coffin, or, you know, it was just a box, and the wind would blow over us, and the three of us hunkered down in that thing overnight. You know, and the next day, it was okay, everything blew off. Matt Smith was there, He was driving Ed Caton's truck. I gotta get off this.